Pastor Jason. Today we're looking at Baptist Catechism, question number 32. Question number 32 asks this: what do we mean by Christ's exaltation? Talked about Christ's humiliation. What do we mean by Christ's exaltation? By Christ's exaltation, we mean his rising again from the dead on the third day, ascending up into heaven, and sitting at the right hand of God the Father, and coming to judge the world in the last day. Jesus came, he laid aside his glory, and then when he died, was buried, and resurrected, he went back and took that glory back upon himself. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 4 states this: and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the scripture. His death, burial, and resurrection all were prophesied in the Old Testament by the prophets, and so he fulfilled all of that. Jesus did die, he did rise again, and then he also ascended. Acts chapter 1, verse 11 states this: while they were looking steadfastly toward heaven when he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand you gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go into heaven. And so these two men, perhaps two witnesses, two angels, who knows what they were, reminded these disciples that Jesus, as he ascended into heaven into the clouds, would so come again. And we find even in the Old Testament that Jesus will ride the clouds of heaven when he returns to judge this world. Jesus ascended. He went up into heaven. Mark chapter 16, verse 19 tells us, So then, after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. What we see here is a visual image of the triune part of God. God the Spirit, God the Father, who is Spirit, who can't be seen, and God the Son, who took on flesh and can be seen. We see this imagery here where Jesus rose up. He went to heaven and he sat at the right hand of the Majesty on high, as it says in the book of Hebrews. Jesus is God. He's always been God. He took on flesh, dwelt among us, and then he rose up, went up into heaven, and he's seated at the right hand of God. One more verse here. Acts 17, verse 31 states this: because he has appointed a day, God has appointed a day, in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by the man whom he has ordained. Wherefore he has given assurance unto all men in that he raised him from the dead. When Jesus took on flesh, he was 100% God and 100% man. He is the man that God ordained to judge the world. Jesus will judge the world. Just as Jesus spoke the world into existence, Jesus will judge the world. As a man, 100% man, 100% God, he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he has ordained, wherever he has given assurance unto all men, in that he raised him from the dead. One of the reasons for the resurrection is that it shows the power of God, and it proves that God will judge the world. And so through Christ, he was exalted. Jesus took upon himself the name that is above every name, and now he is King of kings and Lord of lords. All of this is because of his humiliation. All of his humiliation made his exaltation possible. What do we mean by Christ's exaltation? By Christ's exaltation, we mean his rising again from the dead on the third day, ascending up into heaven, sitting at the right hand of God the Father, and coming to judge the world at the last day.